She dared to leave the comfort zone and of her own home and pursue her passion. That is Pascale Terry, and her dedication to animal protection was sparked 4 years ago after she rescued her dog from death row. And a few months ago, she went out on her own to see a real change with animal welfare.
About 10 weeks ago, I was at home watching a documentary on polar bears, as you do, and for the first time I realised, why am I not out there making a difference? Why am I sitting behind a TV screen or a computer screen? And so I made the decision to get off the couch and to go there and physically make a difference.
And she has since delivered on that goal. Pascale has recently returned from working with conservation programs across the globe. And Pascale Terry, founder of World Animal Warriors, joins us now. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, what was it like to, set that goal and then go and achieve it?
Yeah, look, it was life-changing for me. I don't think I realised that it was actually possible to achieve what I wanted to achieve before I stepped out of my comfort zone. I travelled around the world for 3 months to some really remote places, and I was surrounded by really inspiring and like-minded people, and I met so many beautiful animals that, really kept me going. And, although I achieved and I accomplished so much, it was a very positive trip, but I was also, I guess, met with a bit of heartbreak, which I think is, it's going to happen when you work in animal conservation. So,
Your first stop was Cambodia. I've been there, beautiful, but in some ways confronting place.
Definitely.
You went there to free the bears.
I did, yeah. So I'd actually read a bit about Free the Bears, and I was really excited to go in there and to, I guess, get my hands dirty in their actual sanctuary. And Free the Bears rescue the moon and the sun bears from the bear bale farming and the bear paw soup industry and the restaurant industries and those sorts of things. So my goal was to go into the sanctuary to, I guess, see the process of when an animal is rescued and put into a sanctuary. And for me, I actually witnessed the moments that the animals go to the sanctuary and for the first time realise that they're safe and they're loved. And that was so heartwarming for me to actually, physically see that happen. So, my goal is to continue working with Free the Bears and, I guess, support their rescue missions, which unfortunately will be an ongoing thing until we can educate people to leave these bears alone in their natural habitats. Yeah.
Now, you also worked for an elephant conservation project in Sumatra?
Yes, I did, yeah. I went to remote Sumatra to work with the rescued elephants from the remote jungles that they live in, and they're rescued there because of the palm oil plantations and human poaching and things like that. But when I arrived, the first thing I noticed was that the elephants were being used for elephant riding, which anyone who works in conservation knows is a big no-no. And when I asked the staff, and I said, hang on a second, what's going on here? They said to me, we know it's wrong, but unfortunately we have no choice. We need money to look after the elephants and to feed them and care for them. And the only way we can get money is by tourists coming here and riding our elephants. And I guess people don't realise why elephant riding is so bad. It's not because necessarily you're on the back of an elephant, but it's how they got there to begin with. These elephants, they're stolen from the wild and they are put into these tiny cages for 12 months. They can't move, they can't sit, they can't turn, and they're basically, emotionally and physically tortured. And they break the elephant's spirit, and that's the moment that the elephant says, okay, I'll give up, I'll do whatever you want me to do, and then they get put into the elephant riding camp. So that's why it's such a big form of cruelty.
But there is that element in a lot of these places that you went to that it is either part of tourism, it is a part of their culture that's ingrained over centuries.
Yes.
How has that changed? I mean, how can you change that?
I think it's through education and awareness. I think you're right, people are not necessarily aware that these things are cruel, and I think it's going to take, education, and I think that's happening. You are seeing a change. You are seeing more sanctuaries pop up to rescue these poor elephants and other animals that are abused. And so, I think, again, education and awareness is key.
That's a good point. Now, India, you went to India as well to work with tigers, like a tracking program.
Yeah, that was amazing. So, I've heard about Bengal tigers and their numbers diminishing, so I wanted to go out there and make a physical difference, and so I did. And I travelled through central India and worked kind of in a scientific program where we tracked the tigers, took paw print impressions, set up night vision cameras, all those sorts of things, and listened to mating calls, so we could collect the data and pass it on to the forestry departments that keep an eye on the tigers' populations. So it was really fascinating to see. But unfortunately, while we were there, we actually woke up to the news that one of our tigers and one leopard had been poached and killed overnight, right under our noses. And that was heartbreaking, as you can imagine. It was a really somber feeling. And I realised then that these things are happening every day. It's not just something that you read about or you see on TV. It's actually happening. And unless we can deter the hunters from doing those sorts of things and to stop the illegal wildlife trade, these tigers will be extinct before we know it. It's really that simple. Yeah.
Now, your trip made such an impact, you even had an animal named after you.
Yes. So I was traveling.
A cow.
Yeah, it was a cow.
I mean, look at you. You're a beautiful girl. Couldn't it have been, a beautiful Sumatran tiger or something like that?
It's actually funny. I think, under normal circumstances, I'd probably be slightly offended, but I was actually really happy with this one. But yeah, I was traveling through India, and there was we were on a night safari, and a vehicle stopped us and said, "There's a dead cow on the side of the road. It's been there for 4 or 5 days. If you stop by, you might see some big cats feeding on the carcass." And so we stopped by to have a look, and I noticed that the cow was blinking, and so I got out of the car to have the further look, and lo and behold, the cow was actually alive. And so I said to my driver and my guide, "We have to do something, let's help this cow." And they said no, because in India there are such strict laws around cows. If you're seen to harm or interfere with a cow, you face massive penalties. And so they refused to help. So we went back to our lodge that night, and I didn't sleep a wink. I felt so upset and angry. And the next morning I woke up at the crack of dawn, and I made so many phone calls, and I managed to find a vet that was willing to actually come and assess the cow. And so hours later he arrived, and we found out the cow was a girl, and we took her to the closest village and we assessed her, and turns out she was pretty much on the brink of death, and we were lucky to have found her when we did. And she had a broken leg, which is why she couldn't move. And it was hilarious because the village ended up being buzzing, and there were people everywhere wanting to know why this crazy Australian girl cared about this cow so much. And before I knew it, there were TV people there, and we were being interviewed, and they had a naming ceremony, and they called the cow Pascale.
It's a lovely story, but when you're in the mountains of Africa, I think you should draw the line at a baboon being named after you.
It was, I'll draw the line next time for sure.
Pascale, it's incredible work you're doing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Lovely
Thanks,
to see
Pascale.
you. And for more information on World Animal Warriors, just head over to our website.